Hi everyone, it's Sam here. Welcome to my Monday market update today. I'm just going to be focusing on three big things here, and that's the weekly close, the 200 moving average. I want everyone to also stay objective here and look at historical indicators of market psychology. Whenever we have a big drop and a rally afterwards, we'll often see another drop afterwards just to round out the bottom. So I'm seeing a bit of bullishness, a bit of FOMO coming to the market, and we're seeing it as well in altcoins. When altcoins are really leading while Bitcoin is going sideways or consolidating, it's a little bit of a red flag that we're about to see another leg lower, which is not what everyone wanted to hear, but I just want everyone to be objective. And of course, we can break up from here because as I look into the charts, and I'll just begin to share them now, if we're looking on the daily, I really like what Bitcoin is doing here. So I want to make that very obvious, but I also want to paint the bearish picture. So just for starters, if we're just looking at this chart very simply, it's a Bitcoin chart on the daily. There's lots of colors on here, so just please try and bear with me. It's a little bit noisy. But if we just see here, we've been in this range for quite a while. We broke out of it. So this is the ceiling here, this box here, and this is the floor. We've seen that move up from the low into a new little move here up to 24,000, couldn't break it, which was the 200-week moving average as well as the realized cost basis. We won't get into that, we have previously. Then we had a pullback into the range, it got brought up again, which is fantastic. So what we're really seeing here is, and I'll highlight it for you here, was a low there, a higher low here, another higher low there, a higher low there, and another higher low there. So that is a super positive trend where we're just seeing constant higher lows. It's exactly what you want to see. Now, for a positive trend to really be confirmed in your mind, for you to be confident in where we're going, you want to also see higher highs. So we had a high here and we had the higher low, then we move up for a higher high. So it's higher than the last high, so that's fantastic. Then we had another move up here after another higher low, which is higher than the previous two. So you can see where I'm going with this, those higher lows and higher highs, just fantastic to see. We've had a new high over here. Now, what we want to see here is Bitcoin really rally off this blue line here, which is the 21 moving average. So on the chart, every single one of these candles, the average of 21 of these daily price action, that's what these candles represent, the green and the red, that is just 1 day worth of price action. And this blue line here represents the average of 21 days. So very useful. When we're on top of it, we're generally in a uptrending, positive market. And that's what we want to see for us to move higher. But right now, I'm just looking at this and I'm not overly confident that Bitcoin is going to actually rally higher. We'll go to the weekly in a sec. That's what's holding up my the bulls at the moment. That's that side of my head saying, yep, we could absolutely move up to these price targets. That is definitely on the cards because the 200 has found a support. But just looking at here, it looks like bulls are weakening. And why I say that is because we really haven't seen follow through yet. We could absolutely see follow through, but we're leading into this blue line. This vertical blue line represents the 10th of August. That is the CPI print in the United States. So we'll get a new round of inflation data. Now, I think the market has relatively priced this in, but if it comes in a surprise, if it comes in higher, we are going to see volatility to the downside. There is no doubt about that. Even if we don't, we may actually see a sell-off into it. So just be wary. Also, the RSI here isn't looking too flash. It looks like the bulls are weakening. We really see this triangle I've just drawn here, bounce. And you just see we're just trailing off here at the end. We really want to see a bounce right here or just a little bit below and come back up. But this looks like it wants to just dump through this area. So just keep that in mind. And we're also on that edge there. Now, where I can see us falling to is likely back towards this trend line here and the ceiling of this range. And if we just quickly want to whip out a Fibonacci retracement, gives a bit more of a guidepost. So these are just mathematical levels that generally the market adheres to on pullbacks in an uptrend. So just keep that in mind. This looks to me like the confluence is around about this 0.382 level. You can see over here 0.382. That's that level here, and it is confluent with the trend line. So I think this is a really positive area to look for a pullback, about 5%. That for me would be a strong area of support. Next would be this huge volume support down here. And this is probably more likely in my mind, the 0.5, around about that 21,200 area. I think we can definitely come back down here. And if things get a little bit worse, the 0.618, a little bit lower, and then maybe testing out the bottom of the range at 0.786. That is absolutely on the cards. But for me, my short-term feeling is potentially bearish. So just keep that in mind because of the altcoin movements. The altcoins are just popping off here and there. Not a lot of new money in the market. It is still absolutely a bear market. So if Bitcoin isn't running this, if it isn't powering forward and doing what it normally does, then I just feel like this is a fake rally. We've seen it historically, and I'll show you in a sec with the Ethereum BTC and why I think that. But my first two targets, just for your own thoughts here, are 28,000 at this huge horizontal, this big bold white line. And why that is the case, well, it is a huge area of volume support. On the right here, you can see if it runs up here, it's going to run right underneath this big floor of support. So sellers are going to re-engage here. There's no doubt about it. It is also a key area of market structure because it was the last area where we had this big consolidation phase before a big breakdown. We get above that, the market is turning bullish. It is also the line of the short-term holder average cost basis. So that is the again, the average price most short-term holders are holding their Bitcoin at. Right now, a lot of short-term holders are underwater. When it gets above it, market gets a bit more confident. Short-term holders likely buy a bit more, get a bit more confident. Media starts to pick things up. Generally it's used as resistance on the way up and support on the way down. So keep that in mind. Next target, if it blitzes through that, would be around about this 200 daily moving average, about 33,000. But again, just be objective here about what's happening, what your eyes are telling you, because this looks like we've just had a really nice channel, just positive trend. But remember where we are. We are in a bear market. So if we're looking at this channel, we can absolutely break down. In fact, it looks like it absolutely could, almost like a bear flag, very similar to this. Now, I'm a bit hesitant to call bear flags longer than 3 weeks worth because generally that's invalidated. But you can see up here, we have the exact same structure. And then, you know, we're up here on top of the 21 and we just couldn't hold that area. It looks like we're trying to break down at the moment, and then we break further down to maybe not new lows, but we definitely are on the cards to retest 19,000, 17,000, that sort of area. So please keep that in mind. Now let's just duck up to the weekly just for a bit of positive news. I'll go there and we'll zoom right in. Again, it's a little bit noisy because I've just drawn on the chart, but I'll just get rid of the VPR. Perfect. So what we saw here as well, this 200-week moving average is just so important. This green candle closed above it last week, and this red candle has actually come back down, tested it, wicked up, and it's closed above. That is super positive. I'm very happy with that. We've now opened over here. This week could hold anything. I think we can definitely go down a little bit and then maybe have a bounce towards the end of the week. It's just very hard to tell what this CPI print's going to do. So just keep that in mind that we are expecting volatility, but we have actually been in a bit of an uptrend for a little while, and we could see that unwind a little bit just for the short term. Mid to long term still looks, you know, bullish. Fundamentally, you cannot say we cannot be bullish if the Fed eventually needs to pivot in terms of inflation, and we won't get into that. Something we cover with our mastermind clients as well as our graduates. So just keep them back of your head with just moving through a normal Bitcoin cycle. And again, I'll just bring up the market psychology. I want to reinforce it. This Wall Street cheat sheet, Bitcoin cycles follow this pretty well over the journey. So let's just say we're up at euphoria, the 62,000 area, that first high, and then we had the run up for the spot Bitcoin ETF, which turned out to be a futures ETF, to 69,000. Let's say that was complacency, a little bit higher. And then we had the huge market sell off into a bear market, and we're just down here through this area here. Now, what I just want to point out is all through this area here of anger, depression, and disbelief, we have these rallies that come up, and then we come back down and retest lows. Where I actually think we might be is in this area here where we're moving up into a bit of a depression into disbelief. And generally that disbelief rally, or it's called a suckers rally, it suckers a lot of people in, and a lot of people don't believe the rally is real. And that's when it catches a lot of people out as well. So you just don't know either way. But generally when you see these big crashes and you see this climb out of bottoms, unless it's like COVID where we just basically do a V up and out, which I don't think this is the case. Even in 2018, 19, we saw a very slow, steady build out with lots of ups and downs again that scared a lot of people again. And there's just full-on disbelief through the market. So be prepared for this little bit of a tail off if we get it in this area. I'm not sure if it happens, but it's definitely on the cards. Now let's go to Ethereum BTC, because this is one of my red flags. that we're seeing Bitcoin consolidate while we're seeing Ethereum gain on Bitcoin. Generally, when we see Ethereum gain on Bitcoin, it signals that we are in a altcoin season, or a time when altcoins are really firing after Bitcoin's had a strong move higher. Bitcoin really hasn't had a strong move higher. It's just trying to recover the 200-week moving averages, trying to ground out a bottom. When you see altcoins doing this, again, red flags for me. Ethereum BTC, this is a good one. I think it was through early 2021 when we saw Ethereum really gain on Bitcoin. Altcoins go, fairly wild in certain aspects. Some of them went higher, some of them stayed stagnant, but it was a fairly positive area for Ethereum. But during that phase, what happened? Bitcoin actually topped before the Ethereum gain. So we need to be mindful of that. So 2021, are we there? January through to April, we actually saw Bitcoin make the high around April 21st. And then after that, Bitcoin came down in a fairly heavy crash. But all through this area, Ethereum was gaining on Bitcoin, and so were altcoins. So just keep that in mind, that if we're in this little bit of a bear market, bear phase, bear rally, it may be very fleeting and short-term in motion. So if you've made some gains, might be time to really take some profit off the table and just recognize again where we are in this market cycle, because we're just not going to V-shape up out of this, especially with all these roadblocks ahead of us, until an eventual Fed pivot, liquidity loosening, macro starting to loosen. So there's a lot of dangers around, and I just want to advise a bit of objectivity and caution, because I am seeing a lot of bullishness on Twitter. Altcoins, Bitcoin market is recovering, and we can absolutely come up to these areas and we'll get a lot of people excited. I do not discount that. In fact, I think it's quite possible. But in the short term, I absolutely think we have a bit of a move down the RSI. We sort of figure out some of these areas which have been relatively, we've just sort of blitzed back through them. I think we can have a bit of pullback in line with a Fibonacci retracement. So just keep that in mind. I hope you've enjoyed that part of the analysis, guys. I'm just going to move on to just a fantastic review we had from one of our mastermind clients. So if you're a VIP, you're moving into graduate through a graduate client, you're looking to really take your investing to the next level. And I can't stress this enough. Bear markets are when you sow the seeds to pick the fruit in the bull market. This is the time when you make the most money in this market. I'll repeat, this is the time when you make the most money in this market. It doesn't seem like it, but because you lay the seeds, now you are getting that incredible average cost basis, which you don't get in bull markets. Yes, bull markets are really exciting, things are going up, but it can be quite stressful if you're moving straight in. You want to get the newest gain, move really fast. In bear markets, it's quiet. You can strategically gather your thoughts, gather your portfolio, structure yourself, form your pillars, and then just have all your strategy planned out, take everything off the top while everyone else is just moving in, and you're in a really happy place. But I wanted to just share one of our mastermind clients' reviews here. This team are absolutely next level. Having graduated to mastermind group, I've been in awe of the content available right throughout, from initial intro, continuing through to mastermind. You have an absolute wealth of experience, content, technical analysis, fundamental analysis available to you for life. Only the serious need apply. If you think you know your stuff, you don't. And when you're in this course, believe me. So guys, if you are thinking about really up-leveling your investing and moving into that next phase, we have an incredible team that provides essentially 24/7 support in our Discord and also in our Facebook channels. We're always looking at charting, we're looking at fundamental analysis, giving you the heads up on your NFT opportunities. We also have opportunities for investments in the mastermind group. So if you're just sitting on the sidelines and just biding your time, maybe not sure how to take your portfolio to the next level or position yourself, that is what the mastermind is for. It is VIP support group on steroids. So I can't stress that enough. If you're interested, contact the team. I'll leave the link below. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you again for our altcoin bubble and our Friday roundup. So have a great one. Ta, bye.